Yeah.
All right. Welcome everybody to the Mac and Cheese podcast. I'm your host, Angry Cheesehead, alongside Mary herself, of course. We have our special guest, Bernie Bango, down here.
What's up?
You guys want to be a guest? Please send us an email, macpodcast2023@gmail.com, or DM us Twitter, of course. Feel free. We'd love to have you on as a guest. So, Mary, take it away.
Yeah. So I was just telling you about this, but we actually have an audio now version as well, which you can find it pretty much on all audio websites. I know it's on Apple Podcasts and browser. I think it's on another one. Like that's for like iTunes, but every phone has it now. So if you want anything from one of our friends' shop, the link will be in the bio, and underneath the about section, you can get. The code is Mary15 for 15% off. She makes wonderful things. Most of it is handmade, I think. Okay, so you will hear about this later in a while, but Packers fan Tom Grossi, Packers fan of the year Tom Grossi, is an NFL fan of the year. He raised $500,000 for St. Jude and a lot more for the Autism Research Center. I don't know the exact count right now. And does a lot of charity work. Okay. Please give them a vote with all your email accounts. You can vote as many times as you want to. Voting ends early February. Wait, Ingrid, my question's first, right?
Right.
Yeah, you can go first.
Okay. So what are your favorite moments at Lambeau?
My personal favorite moments at Lambeau are probably mostly tailgating. I'm there just for like the experience. I want the full-on experience, and I don't want the game to dictate whether I had a good or bad experience. So when I go to Lambeau, that's like sacred football grounds. It's just like, I don't know. I'm there for the experience. I'm going to have a good time because a lot of times when I've been able to go, right, maybe it's on the down season, or down times, and the tickets are cheaper and I can afford to go, so you just got to go into it knowing like, hey man, this might be a rough game. Let's just go for the Lambeau experience. And so I think my favorite moment, if I had to pick a specific game, not just like tailgating and the experience and hanging with friends, making friends. I went to a game in 2005, December of 2005. Samcon Gatto was the running back, and he had 29 carries for 171 yards and a touchdown and an overtime win against the Lions in a season. And it was in a season that we knew we were not going to go to the playoffs. We rode Gatto to that victory in overtime. And what was really special for it was I had just a month previous, like a month before that, I had just come home from a tour of Iraq. And so I had just been on an 18-month combat tour. And so I was just like trying to come back into society. And I got a hold of some tickets, and me and like three of my closest friends, we went to that football game. And it was just it was a special moment for me. It's kind of like a welcoming home from after being away for 18 months with the military. So that's kind of like it's kind of a big moment there, I guess, in my life, more than just Lambeau Field.
That's nice.
Definitely. Well, thank you for your service for your combat tour duties. I'm sure it must have been very hard. And glad you're back here alive. Have you ever like what was your favorite moment on like tailgating? Like do you have like favorite? Great.
We pulled up next to some people, and they had forgot their charcoal. And I had like just bought like this one big jumbo bag like on our way to the stadium. So I had plenty. And so then because we gave them like, hey, just burn some charcoal, our charcoal, we got extra right here. Then all of a sudden we all just started sharing everything. And like they started like, we have our grill is full. And they started grilling some of their food on our grill because we had extra space. And so we started sharing food. Then we started trading beers. But then it was funny because then like I realized that they weren't really talking too much about the game. We were just getting to know each other. And then all of a sudden, like, they took off their jackets, and we realized that they were Bears fans. And so we were just like kicking it and chilling with these Bears fans at Lambeau. And finally, they like took their jackets off and showed their true colors. But then it was just like friendly ribbing. You know, we were just like talking a little smack back and forth. But it was funny because it was just like, would have we done the same thing had we known they were Bears fans all along? Probably. I would have shared my charcoal.
Right.
But yeah. But it was just funny. I think that was one of my favorite moments, is just like the sharing of the food and the alcohol and stuff like that. It was just like one of those moments there, right? As I was saying before, like, we're there for that experience. We're there for those moments. You know, Lambeau is more than just a football game.
Yeah.
Exactly, man. Exactly. Mary, do you want to ask the next question? Or do you want me to take
I
care of
think
it?
the next one was yours.
All right, next one's mine. So, of course, with the past couple strings of losses, you know, against the Giants and the Buccaneers this past week, of course, we had the Panthers this week, the Vikings and Bears coming up too. Do you think if the Packers can bounce back, and are they still playoff potentials, or do you think, of course, obviously Joe Barry's holding them back from being potential? You know, what do you think about the future of this season?
Oh, man. You know, just 2 weeks ago, if you were to ask me that question, I would have been so pumped up, like feeling like we were, almost like a shoo-in for the playoffs with our remaining schedule. And I knew Giants Buccaneers were going to be I thought were going to be our toughest two games that we had remaining. And so I was like, oh, if we get out of there 1-1, we got to run the table after that. And then we lost to the Giants, and I was like, gosh dang it. It felt like a typical trap game to me. And so, like, coming back home, I'm like, okay, we're going to get right. We're going to, because we had 0 sacks against the Giants, I thought we were going to be over to Vito all game. And the Giants offensive line had been trashed that whole season leading up to that game. And then we ended up with 0 sacks. So I thought the Buccaneers was like, oh, we're going to bounce back. And if you would have told me before the game, the final score is going to be 37-20, and you wouldn't have told me which team had what points next to that score, I would have been like, hell yeah, we're going to go win 37-20. And then I would have watched that game, and I would have been so angry. And so our chances, we're no longer in control of our own destiny. We still have I think it's an 89% chance of making it to the playoffs if we win all 3. But it all starts with the Panthers. If we don't beat the Panthers, there better be coaching changes made immediately. I don't care. There's only 2 games left. But honestly, I think we can still win all 3. I think there's a good chance that the Bears could do to us what the Lions did to us last season. And what I mean by that is we'd get to the very last game of the season where if we win, we're in. If we lose, we go home. And then we lose to the Bears, right? That happened to us to the Lions last season. Mm-hmm. And I'm worried it's going to happen. The Bears defense is playing really good. And they finally have Justin Fields playing smart. And so it's like, I don't want that to happen. That's like my worst fear in this season. But if it all, like I said, it all starts with the Panthers. I expect to see a lot of Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon if he's back on the field. Tucker Kraft is becoming a favorite target of Love's. I want to see a lot of him against the Panthers. Run the ball, go play action. We better see an aggressive defense. They're lucky that this game is away this week, because if this game were to be in Green Bay and Barry came out, as soft as Sharman, they would be getting booed all game, So they're lucky that they got a game. They have an away game against the worst team in the NFL to get it right, to come, then they go to Minnesota, right? So they have 2 weeks before they come home. So if they can go get these two road games, and in my mind, there's no easy game for this team anymore. But these are still winnable games. I hope in a couple weeks, in the new year, we're watching that Packers-Bears game for a spot in the playoffs. And I you know what? I think we're going to get there. I think we're going to beat the Panthers. Minnesota's going to be an ugly game, and we just have to avoid turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of my thought. So I think if I had to make a guess, though, I can't. I have to say no. I don't think we're going to make it because of Joe Barry.
Oh,
and the defense. And it's not the players' fault at all. I don't put any of that blame on the players' fault. You have the youngest team in the NFL. So when you have the youngest team in the NFL, guess what? It's a moment that you're going to see the coaching really show through, right? Because this team is going to really listen to their coaches, and because it's the youngest team, they're the most impressionable, they're the most moldable team you have. So if you have really good coaches with the youngest team with a ton of talent, you're going to see that week in and week out. And we don't. It fluctuates way too much, and that is a reflection of the coaching staff. Because young guys, man, you can still give them that rah stuff in the locker room and get them pumped up and get out there with high energy. And there's games we come out and it's so we look so flat offensively or defensively. One week it looks like the team has a lot of swagger. The next week there's none. And it's just to me personally, that's a reflection of the coaching and the inconsistency of it. Yeah. So unfortunately, it's the coaching is going to let us down. I think we finished the season 8-9, looking on the outside.
Right. And I'll be at the Panthers game on Christmas Eve, and I'm willing to bet you because Falcons game you heard about tickets being as low as 45 cents.
Yeah,
it was filled with Falcons fans and everybody else. But I'm willing to bet you the Panthers game is probably going to be another home game in reality. So many Packer fans are going to be out there. I wouldn't be shocked.
That makes sense. That's a good point, Angry. That's a good point.
And I wouldn't be shocked if you start hearing, kind of like how the Pittsburgh Steelers did with Matt Canada, how we do with Joe Barry. I wouldn't be shocked if that happened. Good Lord. It's going to be a nightmare.
Yeah. I think when he gets fired, I think you're going to finally get a bunch of the players' real thoughts and emotions. I think they're being pretty tight-lipped. Devondre Campbell had a message, and it was you can feel the frustration, but it was really vague. And some people are like, is he mad at the fans? Is he mad at Joe Barry? I'm like, well, he could probably be mad at both if he really wanted to, but I think it's mad at Joe Barry, man. And I think that's why Ja's taking his time to come back from injury. I don't blame him. I wouldn't play for this guy unless I was 100%. I'm not going to hurry myself back to play for this guy. That's just my personal thoughts.
Yeah,
I agree, big time.
Because we want Ja back. We want Ja back at 100%.
Same.
Yeah. Who are your top 2 Packer players not naming quarterbacks?
And we're talking current roster?
Current or former?
Current or former. Well, I'll do current and former.
Okay.
Current right now, let's go offense first. Aaron Jones, when he's healthy and he gets 15-plus touches, this team wins football games. That's all I got to say. That's why he's my favorite. He's effective. I think they're 33-6 all time when he gets 15 or more touches, something along the lines of that. Also right now, Tucker Kraft has emerged as my favorite. It's I usually have one steady favorite Packer, and that's Aaron Jones in this situation. And right now, though, my current favorite really guy that I'm getting behind is Tucker Kraft. All right. I thought we weren't going to see something like this from Tucker Kraft until next season. Tight ends are always projects. And the fact that we have 2, I can't wait till Musgrave comes back. We have 2 rookies that are really providing to this team. These guys are going to be fantastic in their future. But yeah, Aaron Jones, Tucker Kraft on offense right now. For all time offense, I'm usually a little different than most people. One of my all-time favorites is Mark Tauscher. He was an offensive lineman. And one of the reasons why I say that is Mark Tauscher grew up in Auburndale, Wisconsin. So that's not too far away from Westfield either. And so then He was also right around the same age as my older brother, and they threw. My brother had to throw shot put and discus against Tauscher in high school. And I remember at like their last track meet, my brother was competing against them. My brother was telling me, "Oh yeah, he just accepted a full ride to go to the University of Wisconsin to play offensive line or whatever." I was like, "Dang." But anyway, so there's like a history there of why I like Mark Tauscher, just knowing, like seeing him as an athlete since high school. He's a really cool guy. Now you can catch him on the radio in Wisconsin. He does podcasting as well. But yeah, can you imagine like being like, his career going to Wisconsin, then he played for the Packers, won a Super Bowl with the Packers. But then also an all-time favorite for me on offense would be Robert Brooks. He was a wide receiver. He won a Super Bowl with the Packers in the 90s. The first jersey that I ever had as a kid, I think it was when I was like in 6th or 7th grade for Christmas. My parents got me a Robert Brooks jersey. So that he's always had a special place in my heart. So defense now. Current favorites right now are Carl Brooks and Luke Van Ness. I love the front seven that can win in the trenches, and Carl Brooks, what, a 5th or 6th rounder out of Bowling Green. This guy is a player. He is a baller. He doesn't care who you are. He's going to stick his nose in your business. That's the kind of defensive lineman that guy is. I love watching him play. Van Ness is this he's an athletic freak. His nickname is Hercules. They call him the Lukeness monster, right? This guy, I think, has the potential of being better than Rashawn Gary, but his trajectory, I think, is kind of like Rashawn Gary. We're not going to see his best until the 3rd or 4th season, right? He's got all that raw athletic ability, and he's just starting to understand the game more. He's getting more moves to his repertoire. And he's getting a decent amount of snaps too, so he's getting that experience this rookie year. I love watching those two guys play. But if I had to go all-time defense, I'm going to go Gilbert Brown, the Gravedigger. That guy just ate blocks. He stuck his nose in the playbook. He watched film, and he knew what his job was, and he got it done week in and week out. And then he'd make great plays too. He would have those splash plays once in a while. He actually does a podcast with my friend Robin Adams, and Robin and I collaborate on some things. Podcast wise and writing wise, in the past. But yeah, Robin and Gilbert Brown have a great podcast. But I love Gilbert Brown. And then also on defense, for all time favorite is Leroy Butler. Yeah, man. He loves Green Bay, man, and it's just such a he's just one of those legendary, iconic players in Green Bay. I just love the way we hold on to players, especially ones that have had such an impact on the franchise, like Leroy Butler, whether they're just in the Green Bay Hall of Fame or the Football Hall of Fame, we really hold on to some of those great Packer players. And we always welcome them back, man. It's just, I think, Green Bay is the greatest franchise or organization in pro sports worldwide, in my opinion.
Angry, I know we haven't answered this question. Do you want to go on answering that question?
On
who are your favorite Packer players? Not naming quarterback, offense, and defense. I know we haven't done it.
Oh man, for me,
I love you. Yeah,
it's kind of hard to choose. All time, I obviously one would have to be Clay Matthews.
Yep.
Yeah,
for sure. Gotta go with him, and I gotta go with Donald Driver, big time. Gotta go.
Oh yeah.
Currently, it's very hard for me to pick because originally I like Keyshawn Nixon. I would love to see more of him. Kind of the same with, but Russell Douglas, he's gone now, so I gotta change up a bit. Going with your answer, Lucas Van Ness.
Yes.
Right there. I love the guy. Lukeness monster. I've seen how freakishly intense he can be. especially
Oh,
in
yeah.
the ground. This dude could be as good as Clay Matthews and Rashawn Gary combined in my eyes.
Yeah.
Dude can be a defensive player with the right amount of coaching.
Yeah.
And of course, Jaden Reed currently. He is really
Absolutely.
showing to be a great wideout and a great receiver. Dude can also be a good back too. You've seen how many runarounds he can do. Of course, not like the freaking Giants game. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
Dude showed he could be an all-around kind of guy, and he's really fluctuating with his offense. If the tight ends are what Jordan Love's favorite receivers to go to, his second favorite would got to be Jaden Reed or Dontavion.
Yeah.
But Reed takes the
Absolutely.
cake right there.
Mhm.
That's for sure.
For mine, I would say Jordy Nelson or Donald Driver for
Good.
offensive.
Yeah.
Donald Driver has taken the head a little bit because of the tweet recently. Defensive has to be Reggie White.
Yeah. That was one that was hard for me to pass up.
Offensive has to be Dontavian Wicks for current. And I would agree, Lucas Van Ness. He was like one of my top picks in this recent draft. I wanted him for the Packers so bad. I think he's going to be like a Clay Matthews type, Preston Smith and Rashawn Gary, like all together.
I dig it. Yeah, he blew me away in week 1 when he ran down Justin Fields. Oh my God! Right away, I was just like, "Oh my! Like that guy, he can do that." I'm like,
Yeah.
he's that big, he can do that. I was just like, he's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Big time. So, speaking of rookies and drafts and whatnot, of course, we have the draft coming up this year, this coming year, and then the year after that, of course, Green Bay draft, which we're probably going to try and attend us ourselves. What are you looking forward to for this year's draft and the potential draft coming up in Green Bay?
Let's see here. So this next draft though is not the one in Green Bay, right? It's like 2025.
I think this one is in
2025 is
Vegas.
Vegas. For this, I haven't, I've watched quite a bit of college football, but I don't really have any prospects specifically in my mind. But if I had to go position wise, I got to go offensive line. I feel like in round 1, right? In my eyes, Bakhtiari, his career, like if you get something out of him from here, you're lucky. I personally think, unfortunately, his knee is just done. These guys, the way they play, the beating they take, like sometimes their bodies just wear down before like their heart and soul for the game does. And like he's got all the the mental aspects for it. He's got the heart, the drive, but it's just like, is his knee going to hold up? And so and we've had some offensive line problems this year, anyways. In my opinion, I feel like that's something you got to address early. Also, I'd like to see, maybe in the second or third round, a safety. We need a playmaking safety back there. We have like 4 guys that are all good at one thing, and they all have like glaring flaws. So they're just like rotating them out there all the time. It's like when you throw Jonathan Owens out on the field, the offense could probably think, oh, they think we're running. Jonathan Owens is on the field. Jonathan Owens is fantastic, sticking his nose in there, breaking up the run, and playing at the line. But his pass coverage, he's got the glaring, weakness there. And each player has that kind of stuff. Rudy Ford overplays the ball, right? He's fast. He makes dynamic plays, but he'll guess sometimes trying to make those splash plays, or he'll over pursue, but they're all dynamic players. They all can make fantastic plays, and that's why they're on the team, obviously. But I want to see a safety who's just like, can be out there every snap, and he can do everything. I want a Swiss Army knife out there as a safety. Then I feel like you could add to the front 7. I feel like you could never have enough edge rushers or D linemen to rotate through there. And that could include some inside linebacker, right? Campbell, like, I don't know, is he going to be with us after this year or not? Quay Walker is here. I want to see him and his development. I think he's going to be a real special player, but I think, you could add, inside linebacker in that front discussion, as I say, front 7. And then also, late rounds, you can always find, I think an athletic pass catching running back. Aaron Jones, man, he's like, he's still effective. We see him this year, but like he's having a harder time staying healthy. That comes with age. Aaron Jones, man, he's going to finish his career in Green Bay, I hope, but I think it's time to, maybe go find some insurance or get a guy to develop. So those are the kind of the four things, I guess: offensive line, safety, front seven, running back. Those are the four things I'd like to make sure we address. I'm happy at quarterback. Wide receivers and tight ends abundance, right now, just all youth there. And I wouldn't mind it. Maybe, a cornerback. You definitely got to get a cornerback in there. You always got to address the secondary. I feel like with the secondary, you just never know what you're going to find. We'll probably need to bring in, a cornerback too, because it's, it better be a different defensive scheme next year. That's all I gotta say. But yeah, so that's what I'm going to. So then for the Packers draft, the plan is that I'm gonna come travel back that year for the draft from Washington. I'll probably go crash, with my folks and get on Nakusa for a few nights, and then I'll head over to the draft. I would like to be there in person. It looks like too they'll throw anybody up on that fan cam. When you get to the fourth or fifth, sixth round. I have no shame in going in there. Just Bernie Bangoed up. Shades, headband, sweatshirt. Maybe it's signed with my hat, with my handle, I got no shame, man, trying to gather some followers. I gotta play the game too. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be a good time. I think Green Bay will, they're going to be packed. There's going to be festivities, abound. I bet you, there's going to be beer tasting tents everywhere, and I'm sure they'll have live music, going on. There'll probably be musicians playing in town that weekend that, have never even been to Green Bay. But because of this event, this thing's going to bring in, hundreds of millions of dollars into the community. So I think it's going to be fantastic.
They're bringing the charcoal.
Yeah. So what do you two think about that? What are you looking forward to that, the draft?
I'm definitely looking forward to the tailgate, and it's already going to be big because, I don't know if you heard, but I think it was like last week, WWE actually managed to get a show done in Green Bay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And that was pretty cool. But, if WWE can do that, the draft can work too. And people are always saying, it's not going to be, there's not going to be enough room for everybody. So what? There's going to be a lot of game going on. Not everybody's going to pack in the stadium. Appleton's not that far away.
Yeah.
You're fine. Green Bay's going to be fine. And it's going to be exciting to see how bright this that Lambeau Field is going to be when everybody from every team just packs in and sees, Roger Goodell and all these picks come on up, and it's going to be very exciting. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to being there. And yeah, it'll be awesome.
So for me, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
So I just got told, Emily told me to say hi to you. Her and I are tweeting behind the scenes. So for me, like Ingrid said, we're actually planning on going to the draft. Ingrid and I's first time at Lambeau. So it's going to be fun.
Nice.
And like to meet a lot of other people. I know a lot of other people are planning on going. And we're excited to be there. Like on episode 4, I think, of the podcast, my friend Miranda said that Green Bay wouldn't announce it if we didn't know where it's going to happen and everything.
Yeah.
And also, I looked it up for the 2025 or 2024 draft. It's at Detroit.
Oh,
Michigan.
Gosh. They'll do it in Detroit, man. They'll sure do it in Green Bay.
Yeah, it's at Detroit next year.
Oh, man. It's like they say, you can't have shit in Detroit.
But we're excited for tailgating and meeting other people and stuff.
Yeah, it's gonna be a whole weekend party. I think it's
Yeah.
Definitely. We're planning on being there, hopefully, for the entire draft. Hopefully, we can see you and everybody else out there.
Yeah, for sure. I'd love to link up with anybody and everybody.
Definitely.
Angry, I didn't tell you this, but a lot of people want to meet us. Like the
Really?
podcast crew. Yeah. I'll tell you later.
Well,
There's
for those who do, I'm very flattered. I hope to
a
see
lot
you.
of people have a lot of people have DM'd me and said they're willing to meet us at the
Definitely. I think it's your turn for the question, Mary.
oh yeah, you're right. What are your thoughts about Tom Grossi winning Packers Fan of the Year, and do you think he will be NFL Fan of the Year?
He was the absolute, right pick, obviously, for Packers Fan of the Year. Funny guy, I'm really hoping he wins. I think for what he's done, the fundraising that you let him know you had the stats there on him, Mary, at the beginning of the episode there, and so my civilian job, I am a special education teacher, and so I've worked with numerous students throughout my 8 years of being an educator that were on the autism spectrum, and so. In fact, the work he's doing, I think, is fantastic. It really, that kind of stuff resonates with me. Especially, because it seems like a lot of times, it's like those specific groups and teachers that are being the advocates for it. So that when you have somebody like, a comedian out there using his platform for those types of purposes, I think that's pretty rad. And then he did his whole tour around. To all the different stadiums as well. So that, that's like a dream, like every sports person's dream, and I watch a lot of sports. I've dreamed about doing it for baseball, for football, basketball. And so
yeah,
he's out there just like living dreams and has, he's doing things, for a good cause as well. Using his that platform, for good. I guess that's what I gotta say.
Yeah. When he went to Washington, did you meet him or no?
No, I didn't. I'm a pretty busy guy.
Right. I will say from Anchor and I's experience, we both have met him at the 30 and 30 event. Actually, I met him in Tampa, and Ingrid met him in the Panthers stop. Charlotte, and he's as nice as he is in his videos.
Yeah, definitely. It was a very great experience for sure. Something that both of us will never forget.
Agreed.
Nice. See, he seems like a genuine guy.
He is. And Johnny is just as good too. And,
yeah.
I was able to hold up a great conversation with Johnny when he was passing by, and he was very chill, calm, very welcoming.
Yeah.
Enjoyed the soda that I gave him. Just good boy. Yeah. I don't know if you ever had it. It's called a cheer wine. It's a cherry soda. It's made in the South, so.
Oh, okay. I have not.
Well, if you ever come to the South, you gotta try it. It's
okay.
Really
Angry, you have to
answer. So it's my turn. Of course, we talked about the drafts and what we need to build up our team. Of course, for the Packers, how do you think we can improve to win a Super Bowl in the future? Do you think Jordan Love can win us a Super Bowl? Do you think with an offense or maybe with a little bit of help we can get a Super Bowl eventually? Obviously, defense, we need some work. But in general, how do you think we can improve to be Super Bowl caliber?
All right. I think obviously the first thing is we got to fire Joe Barry. We got to reset this defense. There is a lot of talent on that defense. There's a lot of tenacity. There's a lot of good football players lining up there, and we're just misusing them. We're misplacing them. We're playing a really soft zone. It's a bend, don't break philosophy that is just so annoying to watch. So first of all, right, get Joe Barry out of there. I want to get aggressive on defense. I want to play more bump and run coverage. I want to blitz more. I want to go down swinging. I would rather in like in the situation, we just watched with the Giants, right? If you're just going all out after them, maybe they make a big play and you just get the ball back and you get it back in the hands of your offense or whatever. I personally, like, as I get older and I've watched more football, I'm like, I think that's what I would rather do now that I've seen two different styles. I'd rather just blitz crazy, play press coverage, just be aggressive with defense. Because some of the years that Charles Woodson was there, the defense, we made those, runs. We won the Super Bowl, obviously, with him. But like those defenses with him, they would make big splash plays, but they would give up big, they'd give up big splash plays as well too. Because it was something wild. I think in one of those years, our defense led the league in sacks and turnovers, but also led this in yards allowed or something like that. We're last in yards allowed, I guess is the way you'd say it. We had given up the most yards in the season because it was just we were going to get that sack, we were going to get that interception, or we're going to give up 40 yards on a play. And but they rode a defense like that to a Super Bowl, and this defense doesn't have anything like that. We have the playmakers to make those types of plays, but we don't put them in the position. We don't run the schemes to get them in those positions to do those things. We would rather just try to keep everything in front of us and then make sure we're tackling. Well, we're not. We have a few guys that aren't that great at tackling though too. So that's kind of just a quick thing I think about defense. Got to get aggressive, in my opinion. The next draft, right? We have 5 picks. I think what lands currently in the first 85 picks. I think in those 5 picks, right? They're all in the first 3 rounds. I feel like you got to try to find 3 guys that can have some sort of quick impact, whether that's just limited snaps they're making an impact, or they're on special teams making an impact. And then two of those guys you got to develop. I think that's the most important thing, because there's so much youth at tight end and wide receiver, right? There's youth and talent there. I think we can patch up this offensive line pretty quick, right? One of the things too is, right, going forward, right, we'll stop paying Rodgers. We'll stop paying Bakhtiari. We'll have more money for free agency. I think, you go in the first round, you go offensive line, and then you go out and get yourself a veteran offensive line that you can come in and plug and play, whether that's at center, or somewhere in the interior there. And so I think that's what you should do to get yourself in that back to the Super Bowl within 2 or 3 years. I think Love can do it. I don't think Love's going to be this guy that has an MVP, NFL MVP season, and then he goes and wins Super Bowl MVP or something like that. I think he's in a reach. I think he can make a few Pro Bowls. I think he's capable of that. I don't know if Love's going to be a Hall of Fame type guy, but there are quarterbacks that were worse than Love that have won Super Bowls. And so Love is a type of guy, I think he can get enough games in a row, right? We've seen good stretches of games for him, 4 or 5 games. I think he's just going to be a guy that's going to have a few, at least 3 games every season. He's just going to have a down game. No one's perfect, but I think he's good enough that this team could easily be in the Super Bowl, I think, in 2 or 3 years.
All right. I agree big time. Definitely Love has been getting pretty comfortable. He's still got a lot of work to do. He's got to build up his consistencies. Offensive line, we still got to build that up. Defense, clear out. Keep Keyshawn Nixon to just punt return, personally. Get a quarterback, fill in the spot. Be aggressive on the front, not just try to pressure and just give up or fail to tackle. At least run, do what you can on that end, and we can do well. I mean, Yeah,
if John Stokes were healthy, we probably not see Nixon hardly back there at all. But it's just we're so thin, and John and Stokes are, Stokes is back. I don't know if he's on a snap count or I'd have to look, see how much he's been playing. But he's what I've seen, he's doing all right. But yeah, Nixon's a return guy only. You're 100% right about that, Angry.
Yeah. Because trust me, I really want to see more of return for touchdowns or 90-yard returns like last season at the very end against Miami and Minnesota, rather than just be stuck at, get him at least maybe 2 to 40.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still leading returning yards for the NFL, and he's a high-ranking option for the Pro Bowl, but
Right.
I want to see more returns from him instead of just putting him on defense in general.
Well, he's also, I think, number one in returns. So there's so many other guys that are calling just fair catch, or just because you don't even have to catch it. You can just fair catch it and we're not even going to try to return that. Nixon wants to get those big returns so bad, so he's out there catching everything and trying to return more. So that's how he's racking up those yards, because so many other guys are just we'll take it at the 25. And so I love Nixon for that. But there is one each game where I'm you shouldn't be trying to return that right now, dude.
Like the Giants game. Remember that one?
Yeah.
Definitely.
So he's getting a little overeager, and I think one of the things is he's by him playing more defensive snaps. I think there's more pressure on him this season. He can't just focus on those returns. And maybe he's late in the game, maybe he's burning up some of that energy. And then I think he's getting a little overeager. He's I'm the player. He's he knows what kind of player he is. He knows what kind of plays he can make. And then because it's just not going as good this year, I think he's getting a little overeager and trying to force it a little bit too much. And so it's you're right, Angry. It's just we got to get healthy, or we just got to try someone else, in defensive backfield, and just let him focus on his returning.
Yeah, exactly. What about you, Mary? What do you think?
Oh, sorry. I was looking up YouTube. Joe Barry is speaking at Packers press right now.
Oh God.
I can't listen to that.
Let's focus more on this. This is more important rather than Joe Barry's.
Yes, I am more important than Joe Barry.
Okay, yes, you are. And also, fired Joe Barry.
Yes, Bernie is definitely more important than Joe Barry.
Also, fired Joe Barry is not trending anymore on Twitter.
It'll be trending, that's for sure.
So yeah, I agree. If you guys listen to what is it now? Clubhouse Live with Brett and a Bears fan, Ricardo, that's who it is. Keyshawn Nixon and who is it? And Josiah DeGuara are actually guests on that show. It's Mondays at night on Facebook and YouTube. Anyways, Brett actually said Keyshawn Nixon should score touchdowns for returning this week against the Panthers.
Exactly.
I saw that.
I'll take one.
I'll take one. If it helps out, it'll help out.
Yeah.
I really want to see us go down there, and I would love to, by Sunday afternoon, be sitting here watching a 35-10 game or something like that. I just want to see us just open up and just, just, I don't know, they better shake it up. Maybe you're right, Angry. Maybe we'll hear boos there too, because Packer fans do travel well, like you said, and oh man, this time of year too, they want to go somewhere warm. So I hope so.
We'll see. Here's the hope. I'll be down there, so
yeah,
something will happen.
Enjoy.
Yeah, I think it's your turn, Mary.
It is. I have it up. What are your top 3 Packer moments besides the Super Bowl?
Okay. So if I got to exclude Super Bowls.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. No, that's a good question, because those are easy go-tos, right? It's just
right.
So I'll go 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
So starting with number 3, our 96-97 season, where Favre finally beats the Niners in the divisional round, and then they demolished the Panthers in the NFC Championship game. So I'm going to go with the run to that Super Bowl. That was so awesome, because we had Favre had lost to the Niners, I think 2 or 3 times in the playoffs prior to that. And so Packers, that game was in Green Bay. So the Packers had a great regular season. But then the Niners won their wild card game and they come to Green Bay. And I just I was like 13 years old and just being like, gosh, dang it. Like just growing up as a kid, it was always the Niners beating us in the playoffs. The Niners are the Cowboys, it felt like. And I was just like, but we beat them. We exercised the demons there. We beat the Niners. Favre beat the Niners. And then it was like 35-10. I think that was actually the score of the NFC Championship that game. And so I think that's why that number's in my head. I want to see a repeat of that NFC Championship game. Packers 35, Panthers 10. Okay. But that was number 3 because that was I was around like 8 years old when I became a kind of like aware of football and being a Packer fan and stuff like that. And that was like the season where Mikowski got injured and Favre came in. And so that was like Favre mania, it was like my first year of knowing what football was really. And so then that 96-97 run to the Super Bowl, I was just so stoked as a kid because my team was on their way to the Super Bowl. So the number 2 would be, I think was then as an adult, and as the second season of Aaron Rodgers when he was starting, right? The first year he started, I was like, this guy could be really good. And then his second season is when I realized, I'm like, we have a future Hall of Famer on our hands here, folks. And so it was like that second season of watching Rodgers play. I think that's my number 2 favorite moment as a Packer, just being like, right? Because I grew up watching Favre, love this guy. We cut ties. We trade him to the Jets. And then like season 2 of Rodgers, I was just like, oh my God, I love being a Packers fan, so it was just kind of a glorious fan moment there, knowing that you had another Hall of Fame quarterback and that you're going to get to watch another like 15 years of like, playoff football, like that's the one thing that, I feel like those guys guaranteed, like, hey, we're going to make the playoffs. We're going to have a shot to, make a run at the Super Bowl. Of course, we wish those 2 guys could have brought us more, but they did what they could. And then I guess my number 1 moment outside of Super Bowls would be beating the Bears in the NFC Championship that season, right? We had the B.J. Raji touchdown in that game as well, right? It felt so good, and I remember this is what I remember is listening. I had to listen to this game on my XM radio because I had got tickets to go see the Badgers TCU Rose Bowl. So I was out in Pasadena for New Year's, and I went to the Rose Bowl, and Badgers sadly lost that game. I could record a whole episode just talking about that game. It really made me mad. I really thought we were going to win that one. Andy Dalton was the quarterback of that TCU football team that beat us. But anyways, I had made the sacrifice. I decided I had got these Rose Bowl tickets. I knew that with my itinerary that I would be – at this time I was living in Phoenix, Arizona. So I knew I was going to be driving from Pasadena back to Phoenix during the NFC Championship game. But I thought to myself, this is probably my only chance in my life I'll get to go to Pasadena and go to the Rose Bowl, and the Badgers are playing in it, you know? So I took that opportunity, and it was just like, I'll listen to the game on the way home. And so I listened to that. So my number one moment for Packers that is not a Super Bowl is actually listening to the game. I was driving back with my friend David from Pasadena, and we were actually like in the middle of the desert, and we were listening to the game. Thank goodness for satellite radio, right? Otherwise, there would have been no way I would have been listening to it at this point. When B.J. Raji made that play, there was construction way out in the middle of the desert on a road. So we were in the middle of the desert, like in a traffic jam. And I remember him making that play, and I had already put my car in park, and I jumped out of my car and I ran around. I ran around my car a few times out in the middle of the desert, in the middle of some random construction zone, listening to the game on satellite radio. my buddy David, he's from Tucson, Arizona. We still chat about sports all the time on social media and stuff like that. But David, if you're listening, dude, that's one of my favorite moments. But yeah, that was such a great game. And that it's just, special place in my heart.
Yeah.
Definitely. We can never forget BJ Raji for that. He is
the freezer, baby. He's the freezer.
Definitely, man. Definitely. Best big man touchdown I've seen in a long time.
Absolutely.
All right.
I was going to say, I think all of us for that question have mentioned the BJ Raji thing.
Yeah, just simply go out to a Bears fan, mention BJ Raji, they'll have PTSD.
Or Aaron Rodgers.
There you go.
Or Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, yeah.
Man. Oh, that's yours.
Speaking of postseason, we kind of talked about it a little bit. We talked about the coach change players on roster, but of course, we mentioned the postseason outcome of you think it would be 8 and 9. Do you have any other further thoughts on that part?
I will flip-flop back and forth really quick with my opinions. That's because I watch the game and I watch it closely, and I try to follow who I find are like legitimate sources on social media who know the team, who are actually in the press room, like media wise, like talking to the players, getting to feel the vibe and stuff like that. And so the Packers have a chance for me to impress me, right? I said earlier in the show, if they can repeat that vintage NFC championship game against the Panthers and win something like 35-10, and they do it impressively. I know it's the worst team in football, but if you don't go down there and win impressively against the worst team in football, I'm gonna be you could win if they win this weekend 23-20 on a late Carlson field goal, I'm gonna be oh my God, really? And that's what Packers have been doing all season, unfortunately, is playing to the level of their opponent, right? We play our best games playing the best teams. And then when we're playing a team that we're favored against, we play some of our worst games. And it's and that's a sign of an immature team and a poorly coached team. I can be okay with the immaturity or the youth of this team. I'm okay with that because it's the youngest team in the NFL. But when those moments of poor coaching show up, it's frustrating because I like LaFleur's offensive mindedness. I said this in a different show about how I think they need to bring in a different offensive coordinator and have him calling the plays and leading the offense. Yeah. So then LaFleur can just focus on head coaching duties, right? He's been doing this since he got here. And this is his first head coaching job ever, right? So there's these other abilities and skills that other head coaches have that they've developed over time. And he's not developing those skills and abilities as a head coach because he's neglecting him due to his responsibilities to the offense and overseeing it and running it, right? He needs to delegate that shit. He needs to find a guy offensively he trusts. Right. He can bring in, say, you run the offense. I'm going to focus on being a head coach, right? And if you don't want to be that guy, I'm sorry. I don't want you as my head coach. I want a dog. I want a dog. I want to there's certain times you want an alpha dog, doing something, and being a head football coach is when you want that dude with that alpha, that alpha personality come in there and be like, this is what we're going to do and why, and we're going to freaking win, and LaFleur doesn't come off to me as an intense guy, an inspirational, motivational type guy. But some people say that guys in the NFL don't want that. They don't want that you rah, come on, let's go get them, guys, kind of stuff in the locker room. But thing is though, Pete Carroll, the oldest coach in the NFL, does that in his locker room, right? He treats it almost kind of like his college guys at USC, and he rallies the troops and gets juiced, and he comes storming out of the tunnel. Excuse me. LaFleur doesn't inspire me, I guess is what I'm saying. And so I don't think if he's not willing to bring that OC in, I'll be probably okay to be done with him in a couple more years.
Yep.
Bakhtiar and Rogers money, right? We're going to be freeing up a lot of money this offseason. That's going to be a way to really, kind of work on this team, and then go get yourself some vets, right? If you free up that money with not having Bakhtiari and Rogers contracts on your books anymore, go find some money, some vets that can come in and provide leadership to this team, or going to, stabilize your offensive line, maybe provide depth in the secondary. And so that's kind of like what I feel on that topic.
Definitely. I mean, how do you feel about like coaches like Amstenovich and all them, like, in their positions right now?
My biggest gripes are obviously with Barry and then Rich Bisaccia. I like him. He's kind of like that coach that's got that dog in him, but I just don't know. Like the special teams is just not. I don't know. It's not working out for me. I think he could be better served somewhere else on the coaching staff. So I think. Bisaccia is another guy that it's just like either move him into a different role or go get yourself, you got to let him go and go get yourself. I like the young, innovative guys on special teams that are going to try new things or I don't know. Rich Bisaccia is an old dog. I feel like he should be running a defense or something.
Yeah.
But, Stenovich, I could take him or leave him. That's the kind of that way. I kind of feel that way with the whole coaching staff. Personally, I'm not ready to clean house though. I think there's a way to make some moves. To give yourself like 2 or 3 more years and see if LaFleur is still the guy. But I think bringing in a real offensive coordinator, in my opinion. People might have different opinions, and I respect that too. But that's just kind of how I'm feeling about this team.
Right.
Right.
It's actually funny that you mentioned Stenovich because that's one that I said on the secret episode is like one that we should probably like get rid of possibly soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got to do something. Like
he's not very consistent. Like I'm like there are times where I feel like okay, maybe I should beat him to a pulp. There are some days where I feel like maybe I'm too hard on the guy, and then it goes back and forth. He needs some. Wait. But anyway, you want to go ahead and answer the next question, Mary?
Yeah. Prediction for Packers and Panthers. I know you already kind of mentioned this. Statistics and scores.
Yeah. Well, Packers will bring us a gift on Sunday. We will see lots of Jones and Dillon if he plays. I think we'll see a lot of play action. I think we'll see a lot of Kraft. I think we're going to see the offense get back on track. I think we're going to see some creative play calling. We're not going to see too many jet sweeps. I think we'll see two jet sweeps. But if Joe Barry ever wants another job in this league, which I don't think he deserves one, but if he loses this game, if we watch this defense get torched, I hope that he gets like blacklisted to ever coach in the NFL again.
Yeah.
Because like that cannot be a possibility right now, in my opinion. So I think Aaron Jones has a breakout game. I haven't looked at the weather report. I hope it's nice. And so, yeah, no, I don't think Watson will be back, but I think we'll see a Wicks touchdown. I think a Wicks touchdown, Jones touchdown, and a Reed touchdown.
Yeah,
for sure. But yeah, let's go like 35-10. Let's a repeat of history, right?
Yeah,
I'll take that.
Yeah, that would be nice. And I'm concerned. I looked at the weather. I for the game too. It's supposed to be cloudy, partly cloudy with high of 60. So shouldn't be too bad, but still gonna dress warm. I kind of agree in a way. It's a matter of the big thing is a matter of the defense. If defense can play real well and Joe Barry gets his head out of his ass,
Yeah.
boom. I agree with you wholeheartedly. If not, it's going to be real close. That's all I can say.
Okay.
But I don't think Jordan Love's going to turn the ball over. I don't think, I think special teams might maybe get one or two things done right and then just be mediocre. Defense, we'll see where he goes. It depends on if we can stop Chuba Hubbard or not, and if we can cover. Like Adam Thielen's gonna be a big threat. Remember that guy?
Oh yeah,
he's gonna be dangerous. Bryce Young might pass on us like crazy. You never know, but then again, he's still pretty raw and he still hasn't played that good.
Yeah,
but we'll see. I think we can win this. We can. It's whether we will or not, we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think Anders Carlson is going to have a good game. I think we're going to get a lot of sacks personally. Lucas Van Ness is coming out there. Rashawn Gary is coming for a revenge game. Jair Alexander, I don't know if he's going to be playing because this would be his first time playing at his college team, I think. Matt Schneidman said earlier.
Well, Jair is from Charlotte, but
Right, but this would be his first time playing at Charlotte, is the thing.
Okay.
First time ever playing at Charlotte, so this would be a revenge game for him. Coming home game.
Yeah, coming home game. Well, we'll see if he comes back. I mean, I
did
hope he does.
see from the injury report, one of my friends sent it to me. Jair was limited today, I think. Yeah, Jair was limited. So was AJ Dillon.
Right, but Jair was limited before the past several games that he started. So we'll see what happens.
True.
Yeah.
And none of them was like full practice today. None.
Yeah.
There was 4, 5 that did not practice. It's a lot.
We should be okay though.
Oh, Luke Tenuta's practicing. He's our.
He got off IR, and who else?
Huh?
It was him and one other guy that got off IR as a recent.
Luke Musgrave just came
Mayor
off.
Wilson, that's right.
Yep, and Luke Musgrave came off. It looks like
Musgrave's
nice.
he's designated from IR. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep.
That'd be huge if he was
That
able
would
to
be
play.
huge if Luke Musgrave got to play.
Yep. He did not practice, obviously, but yeah,
Okay.
we have 3 that's coming off IR. Luke Tenuta, he's a tackle.
Mayor Wilson, running back, and then Luke Musgrave.
Yep.
Okay.
So
I just saw that on the.
Well, at least as long as we get Musgrave back for Vikings Bears, like we absolutely need him for those 2 games.
big time.
Yep.
You know, the Vikings, is their defensive coordinator, is that Brian Flores?
Yeah, we really wanted him to be our DC, but
Yeah.
Joe Barry.
Yeah, no, that's his defense, right? We have more talent on our roster, I believe, defensively than the Vikings do. However, Brian Flores is a fantastic coach. He should be a head coach.
Mm-hmm.
But he whipped Minnesota's defense into shape so fast.
Yep.
And that's why they're competing every game, right? They're on their 4th, 5th quarterback. Who knows? And they, here they are. We're looking up to them right now.
Yeah. There's a reason why Danielle Hunter is a nightmare on the field.
Yeah.
One of the sack leaders in the NFL this year.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Avery, the reason why I was laughing earlier is because clickbait just went live.
Yeah, I know. I saw. Anyway. So
Okay, I didn't know if you saw that.
So of course, coming up to the offseason, looking at NFL awards and Pro Bowls, of course, I mentioned Keyshawn Nixon being a high vote. Who do you think is going to make the Pro Bowl for the Packers? Who do you think is going to win some NFL award accolades this year, like Walter Payton or whatever? Do you think Devondre Campbell's going to win that? Do you think Keyshawn Nixon is going to be the only one going to the Pro Bowl, or someone else is going to be?
Love still has a good chance to make the Pro Bowl. Let's see how he plays these next 3 games. If he's put together a few really good games before, and if he finishes the season with 3 really good games, he would definitely earn that right. Even if he plays like decently the next 3 games, there would be a chance that someone goes further in the playoffs, or or goes to the Super Bowl, and they're like, no, I'm not. I could see Love even playing decently, and then still being like an alternate to the Pro Bowl. Jaden Reed is a guy that comes to my mind too, man. He's definitely going to be, I think, he's got to get some sort of rookie award,
Yep.
If that's like, if they do like an all rookie team, he should be on that all rookie team for sure. Cause I mean, he's like breaking some records that Sterling Sharp set his rookie season.
He's close to it, I think. He's close. He's very close. It's like 4 snaps away or something.
Okay.
Crazy.
Yeah. So I mean, he is, I thought he was gonna be a little bit more of a project, but wow, like did they hit that one out of the ballpark? This team right now is, I think we're filled with like a bunch of potential stars, and then we have a few fading stars still. Like we still got Kenny Clark. He's definitely not the guy he used to be. He's still really important to that defensive line, though. Right, he's not healthy. I don't know if I want to call him a fading star, because I don't know, is he going to be able to come back and be as good as he was before? Sometimes certain injuries to certain positions really limit what you can do. So I hope he comes back and he can be as healthy as ever. I think we're honestly a couple years away from having a bunch of people that are going to be, this wide receiver core, these 2 young tight ends. Those guys all have potential of becoming Pro Bowlers. Van Ness obviously has a chance of becoming a Pro Bowler. We got a lot of young guys in the secondary that we don't know what we have in them yet, because I feel like we need to change our scheme defensively to see what we really have in these guys. So unfortunately, I think there's not going to be a lot of accolades. But you said Campbell was up for an award, the Walter Payton Man of the Year.
Yep.
I guess I would have to see what everyone else has been nominated for, who the other guys are. But I could see Campbell winning it, because he's been, I think been nominated, or he does that type of work all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know Ragnow was nominated for the Lions. I don't know who it is for the Bears and for the Vikings.
Yeah.
As far as I know.
Wait.
Yeah.
Who did this? Wait. I got told something. Joe Barry got told to stand in the corner for 15 minutes, according to Matt LaFleur.
That's got to be a joke.
It's from Matt Schneidman. So, wait. No, it's from someone else. That's funny.
It's got to be it's got to be a joke.
Yeah.
I wish. That'd be hilarious if it was true.
I mean, Joe Barry did say, according to Matt Schneidman, I have to be better for our guys. This week was, and then he quit, in particular, hard, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it was hard for all of us to watch.
Why.
And you were the one responsible for it.
Right?
One responsible for our loss. Yep.
Man.
Anyway, Mary, I think you got the next question.
Yeah, I have the rest. Unless you want to do 12 and 14.
I could do Bucks if you want to do the others.
Okay.
So, of course, for the Bucks, we've seen how well they're doing. They're playing pretty good. Of course, we acquired Damian Lillard in the offseason, and tonight we got a game at home against the Orlando Magic. How do you think they're going to do this year? And if they make the playoffs, how far do you think they'll get? Do you think they'll make it? Do you think they'll miss out?
Well, they're off to a solid start right now. I thought, honestly, there was going to be more bumps in the road with gelling with Dame and bringing in Adrian Griffin as a head coach. Mm-hmm. So the fact that we're sitting, at number 2 in the East right now, Giannis is playing at an MVP level still. Dame is still building that chemistry with this team, and he's finding his shot. I think we'll see more from Dame as the season comes along. Cash is still working his way back. I feel like I still don't think he's 100%, but he's just our third option now. So the fact that he can be our number 3 scorer, I think Cash is a guy that you could play, he could play off the bench, but give him like starter minutes. I feel like he's a guy that, if you needed him in that role, he's the type of guy that doesn't have that ego. It's gonna be like, yeah, man, if that's what's gonna best help my team, Cash is gonna do whatever. So it's so great to have such a selfless guy like Chris Middleton as our kind of like number 3 scorer. He has lost a step defensively. He's getting older. He's had issues with those knees. It's just life. But if Cash can hit his stride and get to his peak potential, we could definitely make a run in the playoffs here. In addition to that, we know we got Brooke Lopez swatting shots like he's still in his 20s. I like the high youthful energy guys and Marjan and AJJ. Right now, though, the Celtics are the best team in the East right now. This Bucks team still has to find its defensive chemistry, its defensive flow, whether that's communication or scheming. The defense has got to get better. This offense has shown that when it hits its stride, it can score with anyone. But it's just getting that defense together, I think. So Bucks could be the best team by the time the playoffs come around. There's no doubt in my mind about that. And we'll see. There's a chance. We'll see with the Celtics how they go. We just got to stay healthy. Crowder. I think Crowder would be important on the perimeter. D. If he gets healthy and comes back, he can play at a decent level and give us at least 15 to 18 minutes a night. Have some solid defense around the perimeter. So it's about getting healthy, getting the young guys to develop a little bit more, and the vets, I guess, just staying healthy and consistent. But this team, I think, has the chance of beating the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals. But if we do, it's going to go all 7. There's not going to be an easy path through those Celtics. I can tell you that. That team is deep. They're young. They're experienced. They've been there, done that, just like us, right? And so that's my prediction is for sure. I feel like for certain we'll get back to the Eastern Conference Finals this year. But I need to see more basketball before I can, they definitely have the ability to win it all this year. That is for certain. I haven't seen him put it together for a long enough stretch where it's like it's dominant, where it looks like clean and crisp, and like they're not like pulling out overtime wins against the Bulls, who it's like when we had those seasons, most of the times when we played bad teams, we let the world know they were bad, And so certain games, like sometimes you are going to have bad games, they're all professionals. And so you are going to have letdown games every once in a while, the NBA. But I guess I just want to, it's like 90% of the game with the Bulls this year. It's usually like, like frustration. And then it's like the last 5 minutes, you're like, oh, okay, we won, And before, there's times like at halftime, you were just like, you could see the way they were playing that like this one's in the bag, they're just, not as consistent and dominant, and maybe we'll never be back to that level. But they can still play at a level where they can challenge for a title. And maybe it is just going to be a little bit more of a bumpy ride the way they play now.
You think that's how that kind of affected us during the in-season tournament, or no?
Yeah, Pacers were playing really good basketball at that time too. Tyrese Halliburton, right? He's a former, Wisconsin native, and he played at Iowa State. And now he's at the Pacers, and he's probably might be like the most improved player. Like he could even end up being an MVP type guy. He's having a fantastic season for the Pacers down there. And what I heard too is the atmosphere down in Vegas. They said it was more like a bubble. It was like those bubble finals they held, because it was just like not a lot of either fan or just really objective fans there, or just like people there like, oh, whatever, it's cool, pro sports, let's watch, So there wasn't like a big show out from any of those fan bases. So like that was kind of I heard some of the remarks from some of the players where it's just like, yeah, we were supposed to be the home team, but it felt like we were playing in the bubble or like on a neutral court. But I think that's the way they want it. They want to have a special fun time in Vegas like everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I'm going off topic a little bit again because that's what I do best. I know Ingrid and I decided that we were going to talk about the tweets from the Packer players about Dre's and Jair's and who else? Quay's. What have you seen those, Bernie? What do you think about those?
I definitely have read them each at least once. I don't have them memorized, but or like on hand. If you like could read, but I know they're both they were very suggestive. They were very like trying to point a finger without pointing a finger, because I'm sure, they could get fined or in trouble with the team. They were definitely testing the boundaries of like, what can I say? And like, because like these guys want to express themselves, right? They see the frustration from the fans, and they want to let the fans know how they're feeling and what they think too. Yep. But because of these are professional sports, and there's certain contracts that are signed, they're probably not allowed to say certain things about certain staff members or any staff member, according to their contract. Because then, like, if they break that, they can be fined from the team. Like, hey, you're not supposed to say those types of remarks. And so, I think they're done, sick and tired of Joe Barry, like the rest of us. They probably are. I think LaFleur might be losing some of the team too, because the most of the roster is probably just like fed up and done with Barry, and then he's just kind of like protecting him and shielding him, and like LaFleur is of Barry, and it's just like, man, he's just gonna ride with him, and then he's like gonna cut ties with him at the end of the season. Is the vibe I get. And some people are like, well, who are you going to replace him with? And it's just like, I don't care, because it can't be worse than it is now. And if it is, it's like, well, whatever. Like, at least we're done with Joe Barry. Like, so it's just like, so what matters to you? Your locker room and your fan base, or one guy on the staff? And that's. And here's the thing, right? When players kind of have drama with their organization, right? And then the player ends up getting fined or cut, people like to say, well, that's professional sports, Well, that applies to Joe Barry too. So, right, those kind of comments can't be just targeted at players. That type of those types of comments can be, shot right at coaches too. And that's the thing. This is professional sports. You can fire those guys if they're not doing their job, and so that's just kind of how I feel about this position. It's just like, I feel like, is it nepotism, or is it like you can't swallow your pride, for a moment? You want to, if this is your buddy or a guy that you swore something to, it's just like, look, it's professional sports. I'm sure he understands. And if he doesn't understand, well, too bad. It's right back to, it's professional sports, man. You didn't do your job. See you so long. But so I think, there's a lot of tension right now. And so there could be such tension and division in the locker room and coaching staff that we could see. Like, I would be really sad to see this team come out unprepared like 3 weeks in a row due to staffers and like the head coaching staff or the organization wanting to hold on to these guys for whatever gesture that is. I don't know. Because if they come out flat again, It's just like you have to do something. You have to, and if they don't, it's gonna be frustrating to watch.
Wow. I just saw another stat about Jordan Love. Okay. Most pass touchdowns over 15 starts for Packers quarterback. Jordan Love, 26. Aaron Rodgers, 25. And Brett Favre, 20. That's from
Nice.
NFL on CBS.
Good.
I'll get back on topic because I know Angry has family over soon. Do you anticipate a big jump in success for the Wisconsin Badgers next season?
For football?
Yeah.
Badgers were really successful in their high school commits. The National Signing Day was yesterday. I think they had a really good class. They also pulled in a handful of nice, guys in the transfer portal as well. I like to refer to it as portal combat. But they lost a few guys in the portal as well, experienced guys, talented guys that just unfortunately don't fit our scheme anymore, or the type of style of football we want to transition to. So it's sad to see some guys go, like Tremere DK, right? He's down with the Florida Gators now. He's going to go link back up with Graham Mertz. I think Jordan Turner, inside linebacker, he's headed over to Michigan State. They play that old kind of style Wisconsin football did, is moving away from. Here's a crazy thing, though. Due to how difficult the schedule is next year, we could finish the same next year, 7-5, and feel good about it. Mm-hmm. And then this year, right, we finished 7-5, and it was like a tough pill to swallow. It was a really kind of, for me, I was like, dang, like what is going on? I didn't think it would be that rough of a transition. The Big Ten West was really down this year too. I thought we had a chance to win the NFC, the Big Ten West, and then obviously I didn't think we would win the Big Ten championship, but it would have been nice to see this Badgers team play in that game. And so to watch the type of team Iowa had. So anyways, right, frustrating 7-5 season. We play like Bama next year. Is it Notre Dame we play in non-conference as well? And then we just have a brutal Big Ten schedule next year, right? We got to play USC, I think, next year in Oregon, right? Holy crap, it's real, and it's now. And I think this coaching staff is not going to have the team where we want it until year 3 and 4. We're going to see a step in the right direction, but because of the difficulty of the schedule, that's why I'm saying we could finish 7-5 and go get a decent bowl game and have another decent matchup there. But yeah, I think 7-5. I think the ceiling for that football team next year is honestly 8-4, just because of the difficulty of that schedule and the transition we're still in. But we could feel good about it,
Yeah.
So, and I just want to shout out Rob Booker II, man. He came back to the team. He was a tight end that verbally committed to Wisconsin, then committed to UCLA, and then on signing day yesterday was like, you know what? I think Wisconsin is still my vibe. I want to stay home. And he has just some kind things to say about the state of Wisconsin and about the Wisconsin's coaching staff. How when he started communication with them again, he said it was like he never left. They picked up right where they were off. He could tell that they had no bad feelings about him decommitting, and going to a different school. And now Wisconsin is going to have just an amazing tight end group. We had a rookie or a freshman this year, right? Tucker Ashcraft. And now we added Jackson McGowan in the transfer portal. We added Rob Booker and Grant Steck as high school signees. And Booker and Steck are both guys that they'll contribute by year 2 for sure. So Wisconsin, I think, has always had good tight ends. So it's great to see such a big class come in. And so much youth around there. But yeah, that's my thought about the Badgers. Personally, I'm excited because I live out on the West Coast and it's easier for me to travel along the West Coast. So with the expansion of the Big Ten, Badgers will be out here on the West Coast and easier for me to get to more often.
Right. Angry, did you want to ask 13?
Yeah, I got 13. So going back to the Milwaukee Bucks, what are your favorite moments of them so far? Like maybe the NBA championship games against the Phoenix Suns or any of the regular season games happened? Or
All right. So is this all time or this season?
let's do all time.
Is this okay?
All time. All right. Let's see here. So I did this season, but all time I like more. And you got me on the spot too. I didn't take any notes or put any deep thought on it. So this is going to be really genuine on the spot. My favorite Bucks moments of all time. I'm going to start with my number 3 moment. I want to pick out an individual game and an individual performance. And it's probably going to go in a direction that most people might not think because of the era we're in right now with Giannis. But I got to go with my boy Brandon Jennings, Bucks and 6 innovator himself, but his performance where he dropped 55, which I think was a team record at the time, right? It just got beat by Giannis's 64. But, Brandon Jennings did that his rookie season. He did it against, I think, a rookie Steph Curry or a year 2 Steph Curry, which is funny because Curry was not the player he is now, obviously, back then. But, Brandon Jennings' career didn't play out the way we wanted it to. But the type of relationship that Brandon Jennings has kept with the Milwaukee Bucks organization and the Milwaukee Bucks players and fan base, I just love it. Brandon Jennings is a Bucks dude. He loved playing for our organization when we were, going through some tough times. But it's just more of a shout out to Brandon Jennings. And thanks for everything he's done, man. I love that guy. And dropping 55 on the Warriors and Steph Curry. It sounds really cool right now, but if you go watch the tape, it's like that's not the Warriors or the Curry we know today, obviously. But that's a single performance or individual performance that I love. Number 2 moment, I'm going to go with the 2001 Milwaukee Bucks with Ray Allen, Sam Cassell, Glenn Robinson, and Irvin Johnson, I think, was on that team as well. So that would have been my junior year of high school. They made a run to the Eastern Conference Finals. They went 7 games against Allen Iverson in the Philadelphia 76ers. I was really bummed. That was the era 2 where they've pointed out where there's all these flaws in the refereeing, and they thought there might have been some point scalping and stuff going on like that. And some of those refs some of those games in that Bucks playoff run. And those, like all the games that those refs were involved with, did not go the Bucks' way. But it could be coincidence, but I don't think so. But anyways, it was awesome because the Bucks, I had been a Bucks fan my whole life. At first, when I got into them, they were terrible. But the draft picks of Glenn Robinson and Ray Allen within a few years was genius. Those 2 guys were awesome. Then they brought in Sam Cassell, but they made that run. And that, I was like a casual Bucks fan, at that time. But when they made that run in 2001, that turned, a teenage me from a casual into a diehard Bucks fan. And then number 1 is obviously, the run to the finals, finally winning, seeing a championship, right? The Packers won a Super Bowl when I was like 13 years old. So like, I feel like if I get a championship at least once in my life from all my favorite teams, I will be happy as a sports fan in my sports life, So the Bucks getting one, that's like check the box there. Packers have got 2 in my life now, right? I want to see the Brewers win a World Series so bad. I thought I was going to get a Badgers national championship in basketball, but we got screwed over by Duke. Football, and I want to say football. I think Fickle is a guy that can get us in that college football playoff. I think by fourth year of Fickle, we'll be in that 12-team college football playoff. That's my prediction of the future on that, and some final words. I'll stop.
So I changed the last one, Angry. I don't know if you noticed.
Yes.
Okay. I typed out a volleyball one, but I deleted it recently.
Yeah.
Any guests that you want to have on this podcast or hear from? From the new year? No?
This podcast? Ask the question again.
Okay. Any guest you want to hear from or see from on this podcast in the new year?
In the new year.
Yeah.
I want you guys to go look up the Crispy Brothers. And I think you should interview them. They are really fun guys. They're starting to, I think gain a little bit of a following on YouTube and on Twitter and Instagram. But they're funny dudes, and they're really nice guys. I've had them on my show twice. And one of them was that secret episode we were talking about beforehand. But they are just cool guys, and I think they're on the verge of maybe going viral. Who knows?
Okay.
But they're just really nice guys, And those are the type of people I cheer for and would like to see have some success.
Mm-hmm.
So, Crispy Brothers, or if you want to go like really big, like if you want someone really really famous, Packers, like any current Packers player, especially like this, like the young class, like, if you could get Van Ness on defense or Wicks on offense, something like that, if you could get those, get them, man. Like I think if they're like younger guys and they're just haven't blossomed into their full stardom yet, maybe they're a little more reachable. I don't know. But yeah.
Okay. I wrote down final thoughts and see if you have any questions for us.
Whew. Well, I don't want to take up any more of you guys' holiday time. I want to say thank you first for having me on here. I really had a good time. I really appreciate it. I just want to say a quick, some of my last words. I host my show is Big Cheese Sports, and that's on IE Sports Radio. You can find that at iesportsradio.com. You can find me on Twitter as Big Cheese Sports or X. I'm on Instagram as well. And then I also do a show with Game On Wisconsin. I co-host it. Yeah, it's Game On Wisconsin. Look them up. They have a different show, I think, Monday through Thursday right now, or maybe Monday through Friday. I do their Monday show with my co-host, Umar Desai, and him and I do one.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah. And me and Umar, our show is called Coast to Coast Packers because he lives in Virginia State and I'm out here in Washington State. So the East and West Coast. So Packers fans are across the country. So check us out. We go live on YouTube and Facebook every Monday, 6:45 Central. And then Big Cheese Sports, I go live there with them. Would be 11 a.m. Central on Sundays. So if you guys, I guess I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Would you like to come be on Big Cheese Sports sometime?
Absolutely.
Love
it.
We would love to be on.
Yeah. Yeah. And then my co-host Stephen Copeland, he's on Twitter and but me and him are both veterans, and that's kind of how we connected. And so I host that show. Steven's my co-host, and we love having fans on. So we'll have to set up a time here in the next month or two or something like that to have you guys on, preferably before maybe the season's over.
We would love to do that.
We'd love to be on, definitely.
Yeah.
But I guess that's it for me. Let me plug my shows and ask a question. We'd love to have you. I'd love to have you back on Big Cheese Sports. And it was a blast getting to chat with you too and getting to know you.
Yeah.
Definitely, we appreciate you being on the show, and we appreciate the invite. Really means a lot to us.
Yeah.
Yep. You would be our first one to ask that, actually.
Oh, right on.
Yeah. Like I know I got an invite on Packers Without Borders, but that's it.
Yeah.
Emily is the one that directed me to you guys, actually.
All right, right on. Yeah, Emily we had her on. It was a blast.
Yep. She actually shouted you out on my personal podcast. So that's how I kind of knew about you guys. But that's no longer existent, unfortunately. Maybe it'll come back. I don't know yet. But
yeah.
Definitely.
All right.
Cool. Anything else you want to say before we go ahead and cut off?
No, I guess just go Pack, go. Bring one to us for Christmas.
Yeah.
That's all we need, man. That's all we need. Although I will say, because Rasul Douglas is not on the team anymore, we're robbed of a third game in a row on Christmas time that Rasul would have a game-winning interception. Because we had that against Cleveland and then Miami.
Yes, you're
Hold that
right.
one against Carolina, dang it.
Someone else is going to have to do it.
Somebody's got it.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Hopefully it'll go well.
All right.
Bernie,
All right.
when we get, oh,
What's
sorry.
up?
I was gonna say, can you send me Crispy Brothers Twitter account so I can shoot them a DM?
I definitely can.
Perfect, because I'll do that tomorrow.
All right. Right on.
All right.
All right. Thanks again.
Yeah,
Definitely. Thank you.
yeah. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.